were on the cusp. I remember 100 years is a long time for 100 fighters. I had a couple Australians, at young Griffo, but boxing has gone on for a long time. That's what my younger writing compatriots don't understand. They grew up with Muhammad Ali, therefore boxing started with Muhammad Ali. I think in a lot of cases, sports started when they turned on their TV set. They don't know what the hell went on yesterday.
When we talk about boxing, we talk about the heavyweight division. Who is the greatest heavyweight of all time?
I think the greatest heavyweight of all time was Jack Dempsey. Second, Joe Louis. Jack Dempsey had a left hook from hell. He had 25 first-round knockouts. He won the heavyweight championship from Jess Willard by knocking him down 7 times in the first round. The previous 2 fights, he fought the number 1 and number 2 and knocked them out in 18 seconds and 23 seconds. He was murder. Joe Louis, equally murder. Muhammad Ali, great. But he did everything wrong. He got away with it because of his speed. Held his hands too low, never went to the body. Barely, he less blocked and hugged you. But I like the old-time fighters because they had different disciplines, not skills, disciplines. Then I don't think today's fighter has the same drive and desire.
Well, that's the next question we'll ask you. Many people today say that the fighters of the olden days were much tougher. What do you think?
I don't know if they were much tougher, but they applied their trade and worked their trade. Maybe it's what the world has come to. We're all taking easy ways out. I'm not sure. I don't. In the old days, they worked harder at what they were doing. Now we're looking for the easy, quick make and buck. And fighters were the same. Also, they came from more depressed areas. You know what it was like to come from that, but they all came from that before. And they knew that every fight was one more step up the ladder to acceptance. Now you get big bucks quickly, and what the hell do you fight for? Used to be you're fighting for chump change, and you had to fight. And you were fighting as many times as 20 times a year. Now, 1 or 2 times in your pocket, it's a different world.
And what a fascinating character he was, and what great insight, Ray, he has into the sport of boxing. It makes you really enthusiastic, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's certainly got a great way of describing things, Mathew, and he is, as they say, one of the most respected guys in boxing. He's got a great magazine, Fight Game magazine.
Over the years, there have been many great fights in Australia. One of the best occurred just under 32 years ago when Lionel Rose faced Rocky Gattelari for the Australian bantamweight crown.
Rose all scored heavily and right on the belt line with a savage left rip to the body. Gattelari trying to set his man in the neutral corner to throw the right hand, but Rose ducked away to the left side and wasn't there. Gattelari pouring away with 3 left hands. Couldn't do any business. A good left hand from Rose right on the cut above Gattelari's left eye was a good scoring punch. Gattelari moving in, looking for the left hand, throws the left hook, but Rose dancing away from it, wasn't there when the blow finally came. It was short. It was a round arm punch. Now they come in towards centre ring and hit each other. They're wrestling over in towards the neutral corner, and the referee calls on them to break as the bell sounds for the end of round 4. Rose looking the more businesslike of the 2 fighters, looking to try and pick his punches, but there was a good punch which he failed to pick from Gattelari, one which brushed his eyebrows and took some of the plastic skin which is on the Australian bantamweight champion's eyebrows away from that area of his face. Now Gattelari, 3 left leads, all of which Rose had no trouble in moving away from. Oh, jolting right hand by Rose, a good punch. Now he moves in with the right hand, setting Gattelari. He goes in, he takes the left hand. Left and right by Rose were 2 good punches, but Gattelari got in a solid left as Rose left himself a little bit open walking in. A right hand by Gattelari was a light punch. Now Rose bustles up to his man, looking to hit him with left and right, but fails to get the distance. Gattelari 2 left leads, falling just a little bit short. Rose a left lead which landed right on the eyebrow of Gattelari, but it was a light punch and didn't do terribly much damage.
Gattelari still boxing his opponent, willing to trade punches. Tries with his left hand, but Rose with a beautiful head weave made a lot of them go into the air. In goes Gattelari's left with his head down now, trying to work in close, still busy with his best attempt. A heavy left from Rose, and a left and right from Rose, and Gattelari is willing to trade punches back now. Still plenty of fight in Gattelari, despite the fact that he's marked badly around the face, and there's the bell for the end of round 9.
Comes out swinging left hands, but Gattelari ducking down underneath him. Now it's Rose who rips Gattelari with the left hand underneath. They exchange left hands. Still that mound underneath Gattelari's eye, looking bad, and that right hand from Rose wouldn't have done it any good. It was a good scoring punch, and another right hand, but that was a flicking right hand punch by that time by Rose. Gattelari hit him in the meantime with the left hand. Now Rose walking more up to Gattelari. Gattelari takes a left grip to the body by Rose, and a good punch it was too from the Australian bantamweight champion Lionel Rose. Now he races in and cuffs Gattelari on the ear. They exchange left hands over near the red corner, and still the blood coming down from the cut over Gattelari's right eye, or his left eye rather, and they exchange left hands. Two good punches there, and Rose moves in left and right by Rose with good punches. Now he's starting to find the range, and the big bombs are starting to land home on Gattelari. He goes in and the chop down right missed as Gattelari moved inside the blow and came underneath. They work away to the body as Patrick, and a good right hand by Rose hit Gattelari hard on the whiskers there as he came in and went down. Another good right hand by Rose in the clinch was a good punch, and Gattelari showing the effects as Rose hits him again with a very solid right to the side of the head. Good punches by Rose as he walks in, trying to gain distance now and get in just that little bit closer to do those damaging punches. Now he walks in, a left to the body, left to the head was a good punch by Rose as he throws Gattelari onto the ropes. Missed with the right hand, right and left by Rose. Good punches, sways Gattelari away and then hits him with a left grip to the side of the head. Gattelari throws the left hand, game as ever, back at Rose, but Rose was ducking away.
They start now around 13, and Gattelari has taken with the left hand, but he's willing to fight back. Rose goes up to his opponent. Rose moving forward, crouching. Gattelari spears the left hand out as he backpedals. Gattelari taken on the ribs with a left grip there by Rose. Rose looking for a chance on his opponent. Gattelari goes left and right, and Rose lands with that left hook again. Over goes the right lightly on Gattelari's cheek as he steps back. Gattelari keeps pegging away with that left hand, and Rose there was forced to withdraw his head. Back comes Rose with a flurry of lefts, and he has Gattelari retreating now at quite a pace. Flurry of left-handers. In goes Rose again, jabbing that left hand. Gattelari lands with the left, and Rose retaliates with the left to the face. Both men exchanging left hands here in this session. Rose goes in on a hard right, and down goes Gattelari. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A mandatory 8 count, and Rose came in, and Patrick had to put one more on Gattelari. Gattelari was on his feet at 8, but Rose was towering over Gattelari, and Patrick had to halt the count and apply one more second. In goes Rose looking for a chance to finish it now. There's Gattelari looking rubber-legged, and Rose is pouring in the leather around the face. A right by Rose. Gattelari tries to seek refuge in a clinch. His legs look rubbery. A left hand from Rose lands heavily on the Australian flyweight. A right cross by Rose, and a left by Rose, and Gattelari's in trouble now. And it's white, and down goes Gattelari, and I say that's the end of the fight. 3, 4, 5, and that's the end of the fight.
And Ray, you were actually there. What sort of hype was there in the build-up to that fight?
Yeah, there was a big build-up there, Mathew, because Gattelari had beaten many well-rated fighters, and there were a lot of knockers at Gattelari. And Rose had been to Sydney and had some fights in Sydney, and everyone realised how good he was. And so when the night did come off, it was well attended. The place was filled up. And Rose, in his very next fight after that, went on to defeat Fighting Arata for the World Bantamweight title.
Why was Lionel Rose so good, do you think?
Well, he was blessed with everything as far as a fighter needs. He had every punch in the book. He was strong, he could punch, he could box, had all the moves, had a terrific eye, and he's just blessed with everything.
Yeah, he seemed to almost have, he didn't have a big punch, he only had I think about 12 knockouts in 50-odd fights, but he just seemed to have an instinct for the sport, didn't he? Yeah,
well, he proved it too. After that fight, he went on to fight some of the really great fighters, and defeated most of them. And yeah, he was certainly one of Australia's all-time greats.
And he's a lovely man. I can remember interviewing him once, and I don't think he realises himself that really he will go down as one of our great sporting heroes.
Yeah, he's a terrific guy. If you've met him, and a lot of people have met him. He's a terrific bloke to talk to. There's no airs about him, and it's great to have a talk to him and just to get inside some of the fights he's had.
This is KO. We'll take a look at what's coming up over the next week, right after this break.
Yesterday is a memory, today is history, and tomorrow tomorrow is in the hands of 007.
Bond, James Bond.
Pierce Brosnan, Terry Hatcher, Jonathan Price, and Michelle Yeoh in the newest Bond adventure.
Don't get any ideas.
I've never dreamed of it. The Australian television premiere season of Tomorrow Never Dies, tonight 8:30 on Movie One.
Sunday, August the 22nd, a title on the line. Two of the best finally face to face. And for one, it's crunch time. Oscar hits Oscar Zoo. 4 sensational wins in a row. And now it's final time. The matchup the world has been waiting for. Who will be the WBC Super Lightweight Champion? Sunday, August the 22nd, the day of reckoning. Zoo versus Gonzalez, live on Main Event. Phone 1300 300 666 and book now.
C7 has a fight featuring the marvellous one, Marvin Hagler, coming up this week on Fight Night in what proved to be a turning point in the career of the future middleweight king. Hagler faces tough man Benny Briscoe, who would test his opponent right to the bitter end. This Friday at the Marylands Bowling Club in Sydney's West, there's a big night of boxing. Headlining is a New South Wales heavyweight title fight between Matt Reid and John Wyburn. The card also features some amateur action. Also, the latest edition of World of Boxing is now on sale. Australia's top boxing journal has an exclusive interview with George Barnes. Plus, at all good newsagents, catch Title Fight. The feature article looks at the biggest matchup of the year, the De La Hoya Trinidad showdown. And Ray, that interview with George Barnes must have been fascinating.
Yeah, he's certainly a real character, Matthew. He was, as you know, one of Australia's great fighters. And the insight about him drinking a gallon of beer a day and smoking 20 cigarettes, sometimes smoking on his way out to the ring to fight his opponent. That was a real insight into his makeup.
Well, Ray, thanks a lot for joining me.
My pleasure, Matthew.
And that's about it for this edition of KO. So until next time, take it easy and bye for now.